This is the Neoliberal Around podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Around podcast. I'm Renaldo McKenzie, your creator and host. Today, we bring you an update regarding John Anthony Castro. John Anthony Castro was running for president, and he was also suing Donald Trump for violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. He has been on this show prior to him being thrown in jail, which upended his lawsuit and also his campaign for president. We have an update on him because he spoke with me from jail or from prison, and there's a major update with him. That's coming up next on the podcast.
It's so obvious it's there, but the good thing is that God is bringing it all to light.
I'm happy that you reached out to me because I was getting conflicting information.
And I'll give you an update too. So we did file an emergency writ of certiorari at the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And I cited your articles in it.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably now that I'm talking to you right now, I'm actually gonna give an update to people who want, because I saw somebody reference your name somewhere, and I'm trying to find the article, but they did say that. You had filed. I did mention that you filed an appeal, and someone responded by saying, "Well, the appeal was overturned," and so on. But of course, that's not what happened. You're saying that it's still before the appellate court, and you're waiting on a decision. When is the decision? You said a 6-man panel.
No. So the panel is 3 judges,
Okay.
and once the case goes and gets what they call calendared for panel review,
Yes.
Generally it's 30 to 90 days after that is when the opinion will come out. So,
Okay.
but it's almost never in the 30 range. So that's why I said 60 to 90. So pretty much, I would say, let's see, all of April, May, June. So I would say before July 1st, the opinion will come out.
Okay. And you're saying that.
Summer.
Okay. And July, which is in the summer.
Yep.
So you're saying that I can visit you. I can visit you you can get visitors, so I can come to You're in Texas?
No, I'm in Pollock, Louisiana.
Louisiana. Okay. So I can visit you in Louisiana?
You'd have to submit a visitation form, but yeah, you could.
Okay, visitation form.
I can send you a link to it.
Yeah, would they allow me to do interviews with you as well if I come there?
Yeah.
Oh, do they allow you to do interview on the phone too as well?
I mean, yeah, I can do it right now over this phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, okay, great. So I record this conversation, and if I publish it, you won't get in trouble.
Correct.
Okay, well, great. So let's do it. Hold on a second. This is perfect. Well, we can do it right now. Let me just make sure it is. It's gonna be a phone call. Welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Around podcast. We have an update regarding John Anthony Castro, who was running for president against Donald Trump. He was running for president. He was suing Donald Trump for violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, and he was also president of AI Tax. And during the middle of the elections and his lawsuit, he was indicted and thrown in jail for some tax fraud, which he has vehemently maintained his innocence and has been fighting. John, welcome back to the Neoliberal Around podcast.
Thank you, Renaldo.
Yeah, I published several articles, and we were just talking, and actually got a chance to listen to what you have said. What's the latest with you? What's going on? Where are you now?
Yeah, so it's in the final phase. So the briefing has been completed, and now the My opening brief, the government's response, and my final reply are before a 3-judge panel with the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. So generally, once the panel has the briefs, it's usually about 60 to 90 days after that the opinion and judgment is officially published. So right now we're just in the waiting period, but all roads have come to this.
And recently I got a message from someone on Twitter saying that the initial filing, your initial filing to appeal the decision, you had gotten a decision and they had overturned your motion to appeal, but you're saying that's not true.
Correct. That's not true. So again, it shows you that these people, they're not letting up. They're still putting out false information, misinformation. But the best thing people can do is go to PACER. That stands for Public Access to Court Electronic Records, and you can see the docket for yourself. The case is still pending; it's active. There's been no decision yet. So, you still have the the false information machine out there running at full speed against me.
And the motion, and you're filing this appeal. And tell us a little bit what's the motion? Why do you believe that that you should be released? What is the motion?
Oh, well, the motion for release, the Fifth Circuit, the district judge denied it, and then the Fifth Circuit denied it, both of them without stating their reasons. And that the reason why that is monumental is that Federal Rule of Appellate Procedure 9 expressly says that they are required to state their reasons for denying release in writing. And they didn't do that. And so right now that issue is pending before the district court. The judge is refusing to state his reasons on the record because he knows that there is no basis. He already knows that the government got caught red-handed. They were rigging the trial before it started, during the trial, and even after the trial. Before trial, they snuck in fake stipulations where they basically said that I was agreeing to guilt on 24 of the 33 counts, which is ridiculous. They forged my attorney, Jason Freeman's, signature on the stipulations, snuck that into the record. That was their insurance policy in case the trial didn't go as planned, which it didn't. During trial, things started falling apart for the government, and so they blackmailed the witness, Linda Rivera. They caught her committing crimes. They forced her to lie about me. So they rigged the trial before, during, with Linda Rivera, and then even afterwards. Another part of my appeal addresses the fact that the prosecutor, P.J. Meidel, had extrajudicial communications with the court reporter. That means that he had communications with her outside of the courtroom, which is illegal. And so he basically told her to change parts of the transcript to fit the narrative of the argument they were trying to make. And so that's why I say fixing the trial both before, during, and after. All aspects of it were rigged, and thankfully my opening brief exposed all of that.
And you said that you expect a decision by July, by the summer, in terms of the appeal.
Correct, yeah. So based on the time frame of when they requested paper filings of all the briefs, I would say that the latest would, but yeah, we should definitely have a decision by the end of the summer.
In terms of your incarceration, is it for 15 years? They said that they were going.
Yeah, it was 188 months. It was the highest tax sentence in the last 45 years. So it was very clear they were trying to send a message of, hey, you go after Trump and this is what happens. Okay, so prior to 1984, the way that it worked is if you filed an appeal and you were raising issues challenging the validity of your conviction, they mandatorily had to release you, and you didn't have to start your prison sentence until the appeal was finalized.
Okay.
Well, in 1984, they decided to change the law, and it was part of the Comprehensive Crime Control Act. So they're reforming the legal system in the U.S. to be more punitive. And they said, no, that's no longer the case. From now on, as soon as you're convicted, it's presumed valid. You go to prison, and then you can fight your appeal from prison.
Okay.
And so, but there was a lot of pushback from Democrats at that time. And so they had to make some concessions. And one of the concessions was, okay, if the person raises a substantial question of fact or law in their appeal, that if it goes in their favor, their sentence would be, or conviction would be overturned, then they can go home pending appeal.
Okay.
So the question became, okay, well, how do you establish that? What does that mean, a substantial question? And so they kind of interpreted it to mean that it's more likely than not that you would be successful in the appeal. So if you can show that, then they have to release you. So after the briefing was done, I filed my opening brief in August. The government filed its response in October, and then I filed my final reply in December. It was very clear that the government had effectively conceded some of the issues that basically guaranteed that there was a Sixth Amendment violation, right? They snuck in the stipulations. They were fraudulent. They were, P.J. Meidel, the prosecutor, forged my attorney's signature on it. The judge refused to hold an evidentiary hearing because he didn't want this to come out. And it was super shady, right? And so I filed the motion for release, citing these substantial questions of fact and law. Now, what the law says is that when somebody, a convicted person, files a motion for release, that the judge can't just. The judge has to issue what's called a statement of reasons. The statement of reasons has to rebut the factual or legal arguments made by the person, right? So you can't just say denied. You have to say, oh, I don't think this is a Sixth Amendment violation because X, Y, Z. Or
Okay.
I don't think there was a Brady evidentiary violation because X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
But the judge didn't do that. He just denied it. So I went to the Fifth Circuit and I said, hey, the judge did not provide a statement of reasons, so you guys have to review this de novo and now publish an opinion, either refuting the legal arguments or release me, let me go home. And that's what every single circuit has said. Well, the Fifth Circuit just said denied. And I was like, wow, like you're not allowed to do that. But then I was like, well, what do you do when the appellate court is not following the law? You know what I mean? Like, you don't get mandatory Supreme Court review.
Yeah.
So I went back to the district court and I filed an objection and a motion for statement of reasons. And I told the judge, hey, you are in violation of the Federal Rule of Appellate Procedure 9A that says you have to publish a statement of reasons. If you don't do this, I'm going to have to file a complaint with the Chief Judge of the Fifth Circuit explaining that you were violating the Code of Conduct. And I'm also going to have to file a complaint with the Senate Judiciary Committee that you are not following the law and that the Fifth Circuit's giving you a free pass on this. And the Fifth Circuit can do that and get away with it, but you can't. And so I filed that a month and a half ago. The judge still hasn't ruled.
Okay.
So, and also the first motion for release, the DOJ did not oppose my release. And that is a big, big deal because whenever the government doesn't oppose release, the person always goes home. And I found only 14 examples in the last 40 years. And in all 14 cases when DOJ was unopposed, the person went home.
Okay.
And so now technically the judge is still allowed to do an independent review. And he can independently determine that the appeal does not raise a substantial question of fact or law, but only if he explains himself. Especially if the government doesn't respond, all the more reason why he definitely has to explain himself. So that's the major issue right now. But since all that happened, the Fifth Circuit officially said that they were moving the case now into the panel review phase. And so they asked the clerk to assemble all the briefing and basically to provide 6 copies to each judge. And so now it's officially under consideration. But meanwhile, I'm still fighting the district court judge of like, hey, I don't care, like the fact that they're going to consider the appeal and the merits. Now, you still have to submit your statement of reasons. But see, the judge is scared to do that because what if he puts out a statement of reasons that ends up contradicting the reasoning of the appellate court later? You see what I'm saying? He's afraid of putting his foot in his mouth and saying something wrong because they've already done enough of that. So that's the issue right now is I'm keeping the pressure on them because I know what they're trying to do. They're trying their best to cover this up and make it look like nothing went wrong when in fact everything went wrong in that trial. And that prosecutor, man, he broke the law left and right. and he got rewarded because after I started exposing all of this, 2 months after my case,
Yes.
he takes the job at Alcon Pharmaceuticals for $500,000 a year. You know what I mean? And with only 6 years experience at DOJ, that's unheard of. That was not. That was a bribe. He got rewarded by somebody. And Alcon Pharmaceuticals, by the way, has a super PAC that has donated hundreds of thousands to the Trump campaign.
Okay.
So there's so much.
And how is your family doing? And what's going on with AI tax and your company and so on?
Well, my wife and kids are doing great. They've adapted, thank God, to the situation.
Okay.
And as far as the company, it went under. The staff tried to do everything they could to keep it afloat, but it went under. But I know that sometimes this has to happen in life. The fire is meant to scorch everything so that it can give room for new growth and new life. And so I'm really happy with. It's amazing just how God works everything in our favor. And as I've been in here, I've gotten closer to God, gotten closer to the Word and Scripture, and I see now that He has a path for me, and I'm looking forward to the next phase of life.
Hello?
Yes.
John? Okay,
Did I
that's
hear
good.
it?
Yeah, okay, good. You went out for a minute. And what's going on? And if you were to release, what's going to be next for you?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. I think that I've found a new path.
Yeah.
And I definitely see myself pursuing work in ministry.
Okay.
I see a lot of people that have had a lot of injustice done to them, and I want to be there for them. So I see myself doing a lot of pro bono legal work and a lot of ministry. Reaching out to people, not just legal wise, but just spiritual wise as well.
Yes. And well, thank you so much for giving us this update. We will definitely be following up with you to find. And by the way, you said you are in the Louisiana, is it federal or state prison?
No, yeah, it's called the FCI Pollock. It's the camp. So
Okay.
it's minimum security. It's not like the other institutions. So things are good here.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, and this was good. Thank you for sharing with me. I haven't spoken with you for such a long time. We continue to pray. I'm praying for you. I keep and hoping for the best, and I hope by July you'll get a good response. Okay, I am definitely going to share this and share your. And then of course we're going to talk. We have to share your story. You've been through so much. When all this is done, you'll have a powerful story to share.
Oh yeah.
And yes. And we've been sharing your story from the moment you decided to run for president, but we believe that that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, keep in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Renaldo.
Yes. Walk good. Take care. We were talking to John Anthony Castro, who is incarcerated at the moment, as to what's going on with him. Again, I'm Renaldo McKenzie of the Neoliberal Realm podcast. John has been on this show from the moment he was running, from the moment he was suing the FEC, then he sued Donald Trump because the FEC, that didn't go anywhere really because they said that it lacked jurisdiction. He needs to sue Donald Trump. He sued Donald Trump, and in the midst of the lawsuit and his campaign, he was they had filed they had this allegation, this tax evasion case, tax fraud case, which upended his legal fight against Donald Trump and his campaign. But we continue to follow the story. This is the Neoliberal Realm podcast. Visit us at anchor.fm/neoliberal. We're on any podcast stream. We are also on YouTube. We finally break 24,000. We're heading towards 25,000. Thank you for your support. Visit us at theneoliberal.com as well. We'll write an article and publish it in the Neoliberal Journals at theneoliberal.com and the Neoliberal Post at renaldocmckenzie.com. Of course, the Neoliberal Corporation which includes the Neoliberal Realm podcast and YouTube channel, is all about serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly. My book, Neoliberal Globalization Reconsidered, is coming out soon, so keep following that. Thank you so much. What good. And please email us at info@theneoliberal.com or renaldocmckenzie@gmail.com. Call us at 445-260-9198. What good.